So I made AI predict the RLCS Raleigh Major, and I predicted it myself as well, and we're going to see today who predicted it better. Before we actually get to the AI's whole bracket and Swiss bracket, we are going to look at some interesting things that it said. So here we have ChatGPT here, and when it mentions Virtus Pro, the ChatGPT refers to it as an EU team, which is interesting. Technically, you know, the team does have 1/3 EU, 1/3 NA, 1/3 APAC, but they do represent APAC still. So that was interesting. Another interesting thing here is it referred to Ultimates as an APAC team here, which is also not correct. That's an NA team, very clearly. And then I'd also refer to FUT as an EU team, which technically they're all 3 European players, which, so, you know, you could argue that isn't terrible necessarily. And then it says here as well with Genamates that they have Itachi and Stake, which they don't anymore. Not anymore anyways. And then I let the AI know that the Ultimates are an NA team and Virtus Pro are an APAC team, just to fix up any potential confusion, but I'm not like helping it anymore from here. In the 0-1 round, it says here FUT Esports 3-2 against Twisted Minds, back and forth series, but FUT's mechanical ceiling and EU scrim environment give them the edge. I'm not sure they get many scrims against the top EU teams, to be honest. And mechanical ceiling, FUT mechanical ceiling. I mean, they went out 0-3. I mean, they're not that bad, to be fair to them. They're definitely better than what a lot of people gave them credit for, but still, the mechanical ceiling being the difference against Twisted Minds, who have Naupo. Yeah, no. Then later on here, Team Vitality against Falcons. The AI thinks Alpha 54 is still on Team Vitality. I don't think he's been playing for any team really, so that's pretty funny. Alpha 54 domination game. Okay, so here's the AI Swiss bracket. We got Carmine and Space Station 3-0. Space Station, they did a lot worse than this, but to be fair, I guess not the worst prediction, right? It wasn't maybe impossible going into the event, for sure. Everything looks normal then when you kind of look at these ones, but then we see Ultimates 0-3, Twisted Minds 0-3. Both of these teams did way better in the actual event. Team Secret as well, but that one, you know, going into the event wasn't a big surprise. And then FUT going 2-3, really? FUT going 2-3. I think the AI thought this was like a proper EU team for some reason. Yeah. Okay, so looking at the playoff predictions from the AI, we definitely have Space Station going way too far, all the way making the grand final. I think, even if you think, you know, SSG goes 3-0 in Swiss, I don't think that it's possible for them to go all the way to the grand final. It's just a little bit too far for me, for SSG. So you could say the AI is SSG biased. Other than that, honestly, all the other predictions are believable, even if they aren't accurate to what happened. They're all believable. Carmine Corp, you know, winning, fair prediction, Dignitas semi-final, accurate prediction, Furious semi-final, that's what they did last time. You know, Falcons, they only make top 8 here, but really, you know, going into the event, that was not that unlikely, to be honest. These are all like understandable predictions, other than SSG, like I say. And then obviously the Swiss predictions, they were definitely a bit unacceptable, but the player predictions, they're honestly fine, other than SSG, of course. So then we have to compare whether I or the AI predicted the event better. We're going to do that by looking at a spreadsheet here that I made. Let's explain this a little bit. On the left here we have prediction, which shows where you predicted the team to go. So here, Carmine, you predicted first. Falcons, you predicted top 8. When I say you, I mean the AI. Then position is where they actually ended up. So Carmine Corp, the AI predicted first. They actually ended up top 8. Then we have diff, which is basically the amount of rounds that they won that you didn't think they would, or the amount of rounds that they lost that you didn't think they would. For example, we have Carmine Corp. If you predicted them 8th, they had to have won 1, 2, 3, 4 more rounds to actually finish first. So the difference is 4, right? That's the difference. The reason I've done it like this is because it provides slightly more value for the later rounds compared to some of the Swiss rounds. For example, you know, if we did it normally, Carmine finished first, you predicted them top 8, right? We do diff 7, right? Because you got it 7 positions wrong, right? And reason, like I just said, we're not doing that is because, for example, earlier on in Swiss, you go from 14th to 11th, so you go 3 positions forwards, 11th to 8th, which is 3 positions. But then here in playoffs, we go by +2, +2, +2, and then +1. And I think, you know, being rewarded less because, oh, you predicted them second and they ended up first, blah blah blah. I think predicting the team that wins the event that has more value than predicting a team going 14th, but they actually ended up going 11th, right? So I think the later rounds have more value. So that's the reason I've done it like this. And then basically we're just going to count up the numbers, right? Regardless of whether it's minus or plus, you know, for example, here it says -4 and +1. You score the total of 5, and it's going to be like golf where you need the number to be as low as possible. So the higher the number, the worse the prediction. So you need to be right down closer to 0, as close to 0 as you can to have the best predictions, right? And then looking at all these predictions from the AI, you know, the ultimate pick and everything like that, the AI scores 31 points. So, you know, we don't really have a frame of reference to see if that's a good or bad prediction or good or bad total predictions, but let's compare it to mine real quick. So for mine, I got a bunch of them wrong as well. You know, I got Carmine wrong, as most people did. Gen G I got wrong. Furia I got wrong. SSG I got wrong. Falcons I got very wrong. They ended up winning the entire event. I didn't give them their due props. And then Team Secret I got wrong as well. Other than that, not really any big deals, but clearly I made some mistakes, just like the AI did. But I did end up with 24 points, so it turns out I'm better at predicting the RLCS than the AI, who apparently didn't even know which players were on the rosters, didn't even know sometimes what regions they were from. So really, I'm not surprised, but yeah, ChatGPT, at least at its basic function, or a basic form, right, not a paid version or anything, cannot predict the RLCS at all. They're very, very bad at it. Very, very bad at it. And even, by the way, if you did prefer the idea of, let's say, Carmine, they ended up 8th and I predicted them first, that means -7 for diff. Even if you do it like that, I had a lower score than the AI, which means I had the better prediction. So it didn't actually end up mattering at the end of the day. So there you go, AI, terrible at predictions. Anyways, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.